We are live.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is the third episode in our We Regenerate series. This episode, we're talking about climate first AI and marketing. We talk a lot about AI in marketing and we talk about sustainability in marketing, but almost nobody is talking about what happens when we try to build both things into the same system. In this session, we'll get into the architecture and engineering and governance of that and the business case for it. I'm joined today by Duygu Ozen, the founder of We7AI, and Tyler Raymond, our advisory board member for responsible AI and governance. Welcome to you both, and welcome audience. First thing we'd like to pose is what carbon first marketing means in practice. Carbon first is a strong claim. Most companies are still carbon aware at best. Duygu, what does carbon first actually mean when a marketer sits down to plan a campaign?
Hello, Todd. Thank you so much. Today you are hosting us. We are really excited to have this conversation. Before jumping to answer, let me share with you a little bit about my background. I am a marketing person more than 15 years, but I bring together the technology and marketing through my company and my other ventures as well. And 3 years ago, everything is transformed. I started to bring together to sustainability and marketing. Today, we are bringing to AI, making the marketing carbon aware, but also creating the better ROI for enterprise companies. For your question, what is the carbon aware marketing intelligence? First of all, as a technically, we are pulling out all digital marketing data into our systems, and we are showing the CMO and enterprise marketing team what is the carbon footprint on digital on our dashboard. And after that, our system recommending to digital marketing campaigns to the team what type of digital marketing campaign they can create for the lower carbon, but also better ROI. I will unfold more, but this is the right now what I can share, Todd.
Super. So we're building this system where we're combining both the analytics of the campaign data, website visit data. We're bringing that in through connections to AI, or excuse me, platform APIs, and doing work on that with data science and machine learning, and putting that together with AI tools that we're training to improve both the effectiveness of advertising and carbon impact, as well as trying to bring the same or improved ROI as we're working through this system. For Tyler, what responsible AI means in real marketing system? We're talking about responsible AI at a policy level, and most marketing teams that we've seen are running at least some sort of AI in their systems, making recommendations, generating content, sometimes even allocating spend. In your estimation, what does responsible AI actually look like inside a living marketing system?
Yeah, thanks, Todd. I think first off, when I go into this response, I just want to clarify that when I talk about AI, I'm going to focus on generative AI. And I know that artificial intelligence has been used in marketing for a long time for things like profiling of consumers, generating recommendations, and also optimizing bids in ad marketplaces. But for this context, I'll just be talking about generative AI. And going on into responsible AI, I'll start off also by saying what specifically it's not. So the first thing is responsible AI is not just about technical fixes to an AI system. It's also not only about safeguards and risk mitigations, although that is a really big part of it. And lastly, there's no one size fits all approach to responsible AI. There's no prescriptions that I could give in terms of how to do responsible AI. These things are going to be very dependent on the organization. So instead, the way that I like to think about responsible AI is that it's this set of organizational practices that are all focused on ensuring that AI adoption leads to the greatest benefit for the greatest number of people and the least harm for the least number of people. These practices are going to be very context dependent. They'll depend on the organization, their values, as well as the use cases of AI. And lastly, it's a recurring process. So it's something that needs to be embedded throughout the AI lifecycle, all the way from identifying use cases into monitoring the performance of AI tools and then eventually decommissioning them. I'll give two examples about what this looks like in a marketing system to make all this a lot more concrete. The first one is the question of whether or not it is going to be useful for you as a marketing department to adopt AI in the first place. So say we have a brand that's interested in generative AI systems for creating creative content. So something like images in an ad or some sort of video. The first question that you really need to ask is why? Like, why is it that you need to use generative AI for this particular use case? Just because it's new and exciting is not necessarily a reason enough to do it. There needs to be this clear, valid justification for generative AI. And the way to construct that is having a solid understanding of the strengths of these tools and also their constraints. So going back to our example of a brand, say it's a luxury brand, someone that's designing and manufacturing high-end watches. Core values of this brand identity could be craftsmanship and authenticity. So you need to wonder how the use of generative AI to create content for their marketing campaigns might actually undermine that positioning. So it doesn't matter how masterfully executed this ad is, how nice it looks, just the simple fact of it being artificially generated might actually hinder the brand's positioning around authenticity and craftsmanship. So a responsible AI approach to this would be about having this clear generative AI strategy that prioritizes different use cases that are consistent with the brand's identity, and also having well-defined exclusions about where generative AI won't be used based upon those organizational values. Another example, to make this also more practical too, is around generative AI in the ideation phase of creative content. So one use case that's gaining a lot of traction is using generative AI systems to create these synthetic audiences as a way to simulate consumers for early feedback on some of the content that they're creating. This is obviously going to allow for really quick and cheap iteration to really cycle through different ideas and try to improve those over time. But there's one challenge that comes with this, is that it might lead into overconfidence of these results by mistaking these synthetic audiences for real people. Synthetic personas created through generative AI systems, these things are modeled on online behavioral data. And so that means they might not necessarily be reliable representations of actual human behavior. So what I mean by that is human behavior is quite different than what these generative AI systems can come up with. These human behavior is context dependent. How we behave online is not the same as how we behave in the real world. And also many people have realized using these LLMs that they're quite sycophantic. They'll tell you what it is that you want to hear, and it's hard to get them to criticize you. And so this responsible AI approach to the use of synthetic audiences will be really aware of these constraints and instead reframe synthetic audiences as a way to prepare for real audiences, and reframing the results from those quick studies as hypotheses to test in actual market research. Just to wrap it up, some reflections that I would like people to come away with around this responsible AI piece is that you might have noticed that none of the things that I talked about in terms of actually doing responsible AI, talking about the technical performance of an AI system. There are two reasons as to why I did that. The first is that brands and agencies won't have access to make changes to the AI systems that they're purchasing, either by one of the big AI providers like OpenAI or Anthropic, or specific marketing AI vendors. And so there needs to be organizational changes around that too. And I also wanted to emphasize that responsible AI is a cross-functional practice. Marketing, PR, and strategy can contribute to responsible AI as much as developers and data scientists.
Super. I think the reliance on the synthetic audience also ties in with some machine learning concepts of overfitting, that you've built your model in such a way that you're making sure it can answer questions in a certain way, and you get really locked in, and that your model then cannot deal with the real world, or real world anything beyond the very tight set of data that you're dealing with. So I think Tyler brings up a very important point. if anybody is looking at that sort of thing with the synthetic audience, to use that as a jumping off point to see if your hypothesis with that is worth exploring with real people. I think the other thing that we're trying to build into the We7 AI is that through this work with responsible AI, trying to make sure that we're accountable, the system is accountable, and that we're building trust with the customers for the tools that we're building. And so we're very keen and building this responsible part in from the beginning, and as a leading, I would say, second only to that we're making carbon first AI tools. Second is responsible AI tools, but only just in second place. So that's really baked into our DNA as a company.
So true. Yes,
Yep.
and moreover, actually, we are never give up to being a human, because we are talking about the marketing, and when we look to marketing deeply, it is so human job, and we are interacting with them. Even though we use our high advanced technology, AI and machine learning models, it's a reason we are so happy to have Tyler in our board. It will be very important part of our works, even the developing technologies to our enterprise customers, but also in our consultation program as well. The other things, we talk to carbon aware marketing, but also we are bringing together sustainable development goals, principles into marketing strategies. That's another things we need to use responsible AI frameworks into that works as well. Because we are talking the sustainability, but also we don't want to do any greenwashing. And the most ethical marketing services we are giving to our customers with our AI and the services.
Yep. I think though people, CMOs and people at high levels in organizations will see the speed that AI can bring to making decisions or processing data. I think that these are things that tools that they're going to be using. Why should market leaders be rethinking not just how they allocate, but what they might be optimizing for in marketing in the age of AI?
Optimizing for the carbon. Yes.
First, yes, and foremost.
Yes, absolutely. And there are two indicators actually we are looking all together right now. And one of them is there's a huge paradigm shift in the markets, in the consumer sides. When we look to that reports, the people wants to see more ethical, impactful companies. And when we look to their purchasing behaviors as well, there's a huge changes. And the other things is regulations. Most of the countries right now, even though there is no regulation, but they want to be more sustainable during their actions, supply chains, or other type of operations. And the third one is when we look to marketing all over the world, marketing is creating carbon than the aviation. This is a huge number, and nobody aware that problem in the world. And our purpose, our mission is all together actually owning that problem and solving that problem without losing to sight of the ROI for the enterprise companies. And when we looked at all that numbers and the market dynamics, and our solution, starting with the carbon aware marketing intelligence, and I think it will be so standard for all over the marketing. This is our very soon feature, because marketing has huge impact for the environment, for the people, and for your company. And the other dimension is when we look to business, there are two different dimensions. One of them innovation, one of them marketing for the growth. And we bring together with an impactful way. And in our testing, in our simulations, we saw that when we focus to carbon, we are not losing the ROI. Actually, we are creating the better marketing, both the world and for the companies. And why we are not doing this? Of course, we are creating this technology and giving these services.
Yep, that's super. There's been a real shift in green marketing as a buzzword and a something to pay a little bit of lip service to, and really starting to be something that companies and agencies are starting to put some real weight behind and some more putting more authority in, let's say. From a governance standpoint, as companies start making carbon claims connected to their activity, what's the accountability risk if these aren't backed by real data? Do you have any thoughts on that, Tyler?
Yeah, the way that I see it is I think the risk would be the same with other forms of greenwashing, and then it sort of opens up to organizations to two main issues. The first is that there might be regulatory scrutiny. So regulations like the EU Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive might provide a basis for an auditing of the carbon-related claims that an organization is putting forward, and so it opens you up to regulators looking into what it is that you're sharing with the market. And then also it could potentially just undermine trust in the organization as well, and harm its reputation if you're making falsified claims about sustainability. And I think there's this broader challenge as well, is that it might affect industry-wide efforts around carbon reporting and sustainability claims, because as consumers begin to see more and more instances of these fake sustainability statements, they might end up becoming skeptical of genuine efforts. And so not only harms the organization making those claims, but other ones that are trying to do this in a truthful way.
Yeah, some unscrupulous actors ruining things for everybody, unfortunately. I think that there's been some cases in sportswear not too long ago where a couple of organizations did that. I haven't seen follow on about the impact of that on the whole sector. But yeah, that is an important factor, that if we're all playing fair and a couple people aren't, they can really ruin the process. From the We7AI perspective, we're doing our best to build into the tool this sort of checks at the system layer and not leaving it to the reporting layer, really trying to put as many things in place as we can. Some of this greenwashing will be the responsibility of the organizations using the tool, but we're building some machine learning capabilities in to try and catch the most egregious and standout forms of that, where you've got things like 100% compliance, which are just really impossible to have your supply chain completely carbon free. That'd be great, but that's not the reality. Any other thoughts on that, Duygu?
This is so true. As V7AI, actually, every time I talk the same thing, we do our best. It means that whatever the technology capability is, we are ready to implement into our innovation. But we are not telling to 100% we are doing to all carbon elimination or finding the greenwashing words, but we do our best under our innovation. This is what I can share, Todd.
Super. Let's see. As we're laying out our architecture, we're looking at enterprise models, and we want to look at how when we work with a company, what's going on with building that out without naming clients. What does a typical engagement look like, and what do they actually need? What is the first thing that has to change in an organization before any of this technology might be useful for them?
This is a very important question. Everything starting for CMO or any C-level, starting a decision. And I think the first thing is we need a decision to make our marketing more impactful. for our companies, for the world. It's the reason we created our consultation program, three of us, and we are giving them what does it mean to regenerative innovation and how we can implement the regenerative marketing principles into our culture, first of all, because this is the cultural shifting as well. It is not just we are developing the technologies for the enterprise companies, but also there is some cultural shifting in the companies. How looks like in the company? Usually, our claim is carbon first marketing, and the shift is starting to, if I create $100,000 monthly marketing budget for my Google ads, the first question is coming up before the ROI, before the target the conversion, how much carbon we are creating. And then that shifts bring to another type of campaign structure or campaign strategies or budget allocation. This is the one actually cultural shifting. It is where starting how we are approaching the marketing. The second part is after using the technology, how we are implementing into our strategies as well, our marketing budgets, how we are using there's a huge problem about digital marketing. One of them is digital waste, and this is our technology actually eliminating that digital waste too. This is another carbon elimination. And also they are doing the more clear digital campaigns on Google, on Meta, on LinkedIn, and so on. But the first thing is decision, and decision is so important. After that, we are ready to support the companies with our advanced consultation, but also our technology. We see all our the simulation, the results are the same. It's happening. And we have a result carbon calculation and protecting the ROI or finding the way better ROI. I want to unfold to this part more because it is really important. I am having too many questions from CMOs too. The second question, how we are bringing together sustainable development goals and the traditional marketing principles and how it affects ROI. For an example, if a company supporting the sustainable development goals, climate change, or other SDG 9, our system finding the related target audiences related to that SDG. That's a new way of finding the target audiences on the internet platform. And it is creating two campaign ads around to that target audiences. This is the first time, this is another IP actually, and this is important part for the enterprise companies.
Super. And Tyler, when you're coming into an organization to advise about responsible AI, what's the first thing that you might assess? What tells you whether a company is ready?
I think it overlaps a lot with Duke mentioned around just having stakeholder buy-in is important. So I'll kind of focus on something else too. One thing, I guess, beyond just understanding regulatory exposure, because there's a lot of these emerging regulations around AI, just understanding which ones are relevant to a company. I think one thing that I guess is a practical strategy that people can go away with is that it's really essential to have this inventory of all the ways in which AI is being used within an organization. And this problem can get pretty big within larger companies. And you really need to have this inventory because it helps you understand all the scope of risks, and it also serves as the foundation for a responsible AI program. But there's this one problem that makes this a lot harder than it sounds. And it's this term that people refer to as shadow AI. And that's just like a very ominous sounding term for quite a simple thing. It's just the integration of generative AI systems into an organization without there being any sort of organizational oversight of it. So there's two primary ways in which that happens. The first is we're seeing a lot of AI adoption in companies is being driven from the bottom up. So this might be employees that are signing up for accounts on AI tools to help automate some of their work tasks. So maybe using different products to create slide decks, to analyze some of the data that they have. And they're creating these accounts without going through a normal sort of procurement process where procurement knows what's going on, security is conducting a review, and IT is provisioning access. So that's one of the ways that the shadow AI occurs. And the next one is this concept around AI feature creep. So some of the existing SaaS tools that might be used within an organization, we've seen them all slowly start rolling out, or maybe not slowly, they've really quickly started rolling out all these different AI features. And so that just broadens your exposure to the use of AI within an organization. This is difficult for reasons other just really slowing down a responsible AI program. It just creates risks around data privacy. So employees might be leaking sensitive proprietary information into these tools, and you don't necessarily know how that's being processed, where that's being stored, who's looking at it. And then also some of these tools might not have the best security. And so it creates these entry points for hackers to potentially get on into your organization. There's a few ways that companies can go about mitigating this. The first is there's a suite of products called IT asset discovery tools. And what they do is they just effectively scan network activity within a company to see what sort of products are being used, so you can get a sense of all the different AI tools that some of the employees are using. It's also really important to make sure people know about the risks of sharing sensitive data within a chatbot or whatever it is. It's not, that data is not necessarily being stored on your computer, it's being sent elsewhere. And it's also really helpful for companies to have responsive procurement processes. What I mean by that is allowing employees to submit requests for tools that they think will help them out with their work, having a quick review process so these can be quickly brought into the people that want to use them, so they can start actively putting them on their work while also maintaining oversight into all the different tools that people are using.
Super. Yeah, those are all excellent points. I would go further into mentioning that a lot of the tools, the LLMs or speech capture tools, are sending the data, like a recording of a meeting notes. They're sending those out to third, fourth party processors to do the work of returning you a cleaned up set of bullet points about your meeting. While they disclose those tools, you're now 2 or 3 vendors outside of what you may even be aware of that have access to your data and may or may not, as Tyler mentions, have very good data security or security over their ecosystem themselves. So these are huge areas for risk that need to be mitigated. From the perspective of our system or being ready for things, I think as a technology, I'm mostly interested in the data architecture and making sure that the underlying systems can carry the signal that we're looking for. And if they can't, then there's no amount of strategy or governance that can help bring useful information out of that data. So that's where I would usually start with evaluating companies and systems. You have any other input on this line of thinking, Diego? All right.
It is excellent, CTO. I love it. All these reflections and sharing. This is so beautiful. Talking, during this conversation, I would love to share what I was feeling. This is amazing. In this age, we are talking AI, but also sustainability. And there is one more layer. It is so important, responsible AI. And I am so proud of all of us. As V7, every time we say the same thing, we are beyond the technology companies. This is actually proof of how we are creating this culture under the V7 to focusing to ethical way, creating the innovation and implement that culture into our company, but also for our enterprise companies. And this is what I want to share. It is amazing.
Bringing each of our experiences and perspectives makes the system much better, and will
much
make
better for us, for the other companies.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
True.
Absolutely.
And very soon we will be sharing the more details how we are implementing responsible AI in marketing under the V7. We will work with Tyler, but also there's another services. We will share more details if we work a company about in that area, how we will work them, how we will be helping them to using to AI for marketing, because I witnessed so many things people are using to ChatGPT or other platforms to creating the marketing strategies, but there's a huge hallucination as well. In marketing perspective, we need to approach to different right now to marketing. For the digital paid ads or search engine optimization, even the creating the website is so important using to AI generated content. And we will share more detail.
Super. I think as we've mentioned earlier in the conversation, that regulation in many places is starting to catch up and to be more prevalent. I know some parts of the world is less interested in sustainability and carbon, but the rest of the world is pressing forward. And I think in a lot of places that there's starting to be more regulation than less, and tighter constraints and concerns. I know here in Turkey, where I'm currently based, the Scope 3 is regulations are coming into effect, and that those will include marketing efforts. Do you, in let's say the next couple of years, what does marketing infrastructure look like for companies that have moved on this early, and what happens to the ones that haven't done anything to get prepared?
Yes. As you mentioned, regulations are coming. Actually, in New York State and the California State, they started to implementing Scope 3, which is good for us. But in the next year or next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, everybody will talk, first of all, to carbon first marketing, because it is not just a regulation. This is what we need. There's a huge changes about the climate change. Every industry, every department somehow implementing to their sustainability goals. Either there's a regulations or not. I see the future mostly in a technology part. We will use more agentic AI to implement that strategies, carbon aware marketing intelligence into the enterprise companies, but also it will affect our educational system too. This is our other dream. We will talk mostly regenerative innovation. And what does it mean, regenerative innovation? It is slightly different than the sustainability. In the beginning of the companies or in the beginning of the developing innovation, you are starting to thinking about the ecosystem. You are supporting to, for example, blue ocean, blue carbon, but also implementing into your business model, that business model creating the more positive impact for the world, for the blue carbon or others. I think especially in the innovation development part, we will talk about mostly regenerative innovation, not just solid AI or technology, but regenerative innovation.
Yep. I see us all of this being part of a growing green tech movement. Trying to improve the efficiency of computers, the power driving data centers, all of this coming together. I think more attention needs to be placed to this, and to counter or keep up with the growing power consumption for these the training of the large language models. And I think there's a growing movement for that I think we will be part of, and help to educate others on as well.
So there's a movement, as you mentioned, that we have to talk, because there is a very important AI, and it depends on how we are using it will affect the future. And it's the reason we should innovate with that ethical perspective, with that intention, and we should come together creating these technologies. It's a movement, and we are so happy to be part of that movement as we do.
Super. Your signal is breaking up a little bit, but I think we got all of your point. Any closing thoughts from you, Tyler?
No, I think just to reiterate that there really is a strong overlap between responsible AI and sustainability considerations within the organization. Not only in responsible AI, one of the fundamental principles is thinking about the sustainability of the technologies that we create, but just around the orientation about thinking about how the things that we create go on to impact the world. They're really based on this, like a very similar philosophy. And so there is a lot of similarities and synergies between the two areas. And it's really exciting to be at the space that is trying to drive this forward throughout the industry.
Yeah, I think putting all of this together is very important. We want to really be walking the talk, that we're modeling the behavior that we want to see in the world, and being responsible ourselves, and helping to educate other groups and people, and push these ideas of sustainability and carbon awareness forward and further out into the world, so that we're doing good.
Yes.
All right. Anything else from you, Duiku?
I think I will repeat the one part because all that meetings, and we are having great feedbacks. We started working with the companies. The first thing, whenever we talk about regenerative marketing or carbon aware marketing, they are so right, but there's a little bit fear, losing the ROI, losing the money, and etc. Everything is starting the decision, and the second part is to trust. Because it's happening, the technology has huge ability to bring together purpose and the profit. And this is why we are here. This is why V7 AI has this huge mission. I think my message will be, let's talk and share our common mission, and we would love to show how it's possible bringing together purpose and the profit together.
Super. Thank you, Duigu. Thank you, Tyler. Look forward to continuing this in our next session. And with you, the audience, all of you continuing this conversation. We're at we7.ai, and look forward to moving into the future with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.